Good New Year, gamers and gamer friends! Welcome to our first episode of GS2 in 2019! Woo! We're back. Can't stop, won't stop. And we have big plans this year for GS2 as we expand the scope of what is possible with new hosts, new ways to stream, and new ways for you, our growing community, to participate. I'm your host, Steven, and while we're on the topic of expanding, let me expand the amount of hosts we have by introducing our two other hosts this evening. We have our captain, my captain, Dame, with us this week. How have you been, sir?
A little salty.
As most captains are.
As most captains are,
Yeah.
yes.
Stay out of the ocean, sir.
And everyone's favorite albatross. We have Bowman with us this evening. Glad to have you back this year, Bowman.
Happy to be here.
We haven't really...
Except I'm trying to put my hat on the right way because
it's not going to happen. Right. No, it's... your hat is free floating and not available to stay on your head at all times. We haven't really spoken much, you guys, since December, I guess, at least on GS2. So what have you guys been up to since the middle of December till now?
Lots of Christmas time festivities and playing a ton of Fallout 76, nuking everything.
As one could expect.
I've been playing a lot of PUBG, as one would expect.
Yeah. So pretty much nothing's changed.
Yeah, pretty
much.
I mean, I haven't had much to do, so if I had Fallout 76 for any system that you guys have it on, I would be playing with you guys.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, we have a lot to cover, and no doubt we're going to not cover it all because there's been a lot that happened in the news. So, you know, we're not going to really be able to cover it all in this show because of reasons, but also because, you know, I also want to broaden this a little bit because we're going to be talking about Atlas, and Bowman, you're going to be streaming a little bit of Atlas here, and we're going to go ahead and jump over to the game. So you can get started on that while we talk about what's going on.
Indeed.
So let's bring in your stream here so everyone can join in on the festivities. You know, the past few weeks, Atlas has kind of had some issues, some growing pains. And so I know that Dame hasn't had the opportunity to play Atlas. Is that correct?
That's correct. But I did play its predecessor, Ark, a fair bit. So I'm familiar enough with where Atlas is coming from that this will be an interesting conversation.
Well, let's maybe go through since I mean, we've all been up to date with the issues that you've experienced, Bowman, because you've been very open about it in Slack, and vocal as well. So maybe you might want to recap a little bit of some of the issues that you've experienced and maybe some of the issues that you're still experiencing as we get started here.
Indeed. While I try and figure out why I can't hear my game audio anymore. Yeah, we thought we had this figured out. So, the biggest issues I've had were, I mean, day one, I was part of the beta, so it wasn't really too big of an issue right there, because there's very few streamers on, and it was only streamers, so it was running really good. I was getting about 35 to 45 frames per second on ultra settings, and then after that, it kind of died. Because I went into a free port trying to stay away from all the deadly things, and it was like 5 frames per second. And you couldn't run anywhere because, A, there were so many people laying down sleeping on the server because they all quit the server at the same time so that they could just wait for the server to get back up and running.
Right.
And B, I'm making the rubber banding motions if you guys weren't aware.
I was kind of wondering what was going on there for a second.
So that's what would happen every time you try and walk somewhere. I finally got to the point, because you can't you couldn't really kill your character on the server unless you hit something and it killed you, or you drown yourself. So in order to restart my character on a different place, like the lawless regions, because that's the only place that was safe to log into,
Right.
Even though it's the worst place to log into, I literally spent 20 minutes rubber banding to get into the ocean to drown myself. And then it still didn't work the right way because I rubber banded back out of the water and then back into the water and out and in and back and out. Just kept going. It was terrible. So they fixed that issue. They've been pushing out updates, every, as far as I can see, every couple hours at this point.
Right.
Every couple hours, every couple days. They're getting things to the point where, right now, because I'm streaming and I'm on certain settings, I'm getting about 22 FPS right now. But when I'm playing regular, I'm getting about 40 to 50 FPS on medium settings, just so I don't overtax things, which is pretty good.
Just for our listeners and viewers, when you talk about getting around 20 to 40 FPS, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of what your system is that you're running on so that people can get an idea of a really close proxy to what they might have as far as gear goes?
Right.
Absolutely not. I'm gonna give all my secrets away. No. So I'm running with a AMD Ryzen 1700X, and I have 16 gigabytes of Ripjaw memory. I'm also running with a 1080 OC from Gigabyte. So
no slouch of a system.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely very good.
Pretty much almost on the top end. I wouldn't say fully, but it's very good. A little bit above mid range.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't having too many issues with it, and then I was playing on the lawless regions, and I decided I would go on the PvP server because me, I wanted to blow up other player characters and stuff.
Of course,
with my ship once I had it built, and then the first issues you run into are when you spawn onto some of these places. Mm-hmm. You spawn in the water, which isn't usually a bad thing if you're on top of the water. But then you have to run by all these crocodiles and lions, and these lions will literally bite you, pick you up into the air. Now, granted, your feet are in its mouth, and you're straight up in the air. So that's one thing. So literally, I could be sitting here with my bow and arrow, like, pew, pew, like looking down on this thing. But that wasn't too bad. But the animal aggro is like super long distance. Like this croc could be 100 meters away, and it would come right after me. Like, oh, come on. So then after I avoid like 15 to 20 different beasts trying to kill me to get back to where I set up my base on one side of this island, then I start looting and doing all the pillaging and gathering and stuff like that. And then wolves just show up out of nowhere and kill me. So then I go spawn again, and then I have to go back to my base and everything like that. And then after one of the updates, it was a couple days ago, that I switched over to the PvE server. And before I switched to the PvE server that I'm sitting on right now that you guys are watching me on, I had a very bad issue with my my spawning. If anybody watched my fair review on YouTube at the Wolf's Den, you would see that I did a small little death montage, and basically that was only about 2.5 minutes of my death scenes, because the rest of the 14 minutes that I was streaming that, I literally died underwater because my spawn was underwater every single time, or I was falling through the earth, like.
Yeah, that was pretty fantastic to watch that.
Yeah, that's always good. So, well, one of the things that you mentioned also was, you were having some issues with some of the animals and so on and so forth. Earlier today, we were testing out we were trying to test out this server so that you could stream to me, so that this is part of our new format here, where we're going to have people streaming games to us during our show. While we were testing this, you wanted to show me a little bit about what Atlas had going on, and I watched as you unsuccessfully attacked a cow, who proceeded to run away, gain back all his health, and go invincible. Which was quite possibly one of the silliest and most ridiculous things I have ever seen in a game. It was a cow.
Okay.
Not only was it just like the cow took off, and we're talking about a cow like going like it was close to double the speed that you could go. He took off like very fast.
This cow had like 25 arrows in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and only about 5 of them counted for damage.
Yeah. I mean, shortly thereafter, after giving up on the cow, he went over and killed an elephant, and it took like no time. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. This was like the crazy. The funny thing is, after watching him for like 5 minutes, chasing this cow, trying to kill it, shooting it successfully, and it not losing any health, I watched it pass by very quickly, and it had more health than when it started. And I said, "Is it gaining its health back?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How is this possible?" This is like
summoned the Cow King.
Yeah, it's like the Wolverine of cows. It just gets hit and keeps on ticking and just won't go down.
And then before I killed the elephant, but after I shot at the cow and was trying to get that for a while, remember I was shooting the male cow, the bull.
Yeah.
It was stuck. It was wedged between these 2 trees that were literally like this, and its body was perfectly in between. So I'm just pew, pew, pew. It's like I should drag more cows through here.
Yeah. So needless to say, it's been tumultuous. Now, Studio Wildcard, Instinct Games, they made Ark, and Ark Survival Evolved is a game. It's a survival game with dinosaurs and bathroom requirements and all that entails. It wasn't known for having an exceptionally fantastic early access or launch all the way through. And I think maybe a lot of people thought that that maybe they've learned their lesson, and that maybe this game would have launched in a better state. But Ark was in early access for a long time, and to be truthful, I mean, they were pretty much forced out of early access because they started selling expansions while the game was still in early access.
I was just about to bring that point up, Steven, because that to me burned me on Ark. I was an early adopter of Ark. I had a lot of great experiences early on. I should say I had a lot of fun experiences early on.
Right.
The game was terribly optimized. Hey man, there's nothing like tearing around on the back of a Carnotaur and just taking stuff out. But anyway, it was a buggy experience. It was poorly optimized, and it seemed like after every patch that things got worse with the game. And then to see that they were already taking, I think they were taking pre-orders for expansion content without the game even leaving early access.
Right.
And that's a fair bit ridiculous to me. Like if you're going to work on a game, and I completely understand pushing new content out for your games, but finish the game. Just finish the game, right. Optimize it, get it in a working state so that players aren't frustrated with playing your game, and then bring more content to it. Because chances are people didn't experience or aren't going to experience the breadth that your game and a game like this would have to offer. Right. If it's in the state that it is. I do appreciate, and this came to us via PC Gamer today, and I laughed so hard when I read this headline that says that the next Atlas update allows players to eat poop and die. I kid you not, the most stunning words of the 10.0 patch update that's going to drop on Monday at noon is eating poop is now instant death.
Who would have thought?
Strangely enough, people immediately thought that was a good idea to do in the first place. That something like that would need to be put in the game.
Ridiculous.
It is pretty ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous, and maybe I'm missing something, but something popped up on your screen not too long ago that said "I like wieners," Was that somebody's chat in the game, or is that something that your character just says from time to time?
So each of if you see these flags, these are claims.
Okay.
So this is my PvE group's claim over here, and as you can see from this this flag up here in the distance, you can actually customize the flag. So somebody actually drew that onto this flag. Which is pretty cool, and that's our house over there.
I mean, cool. I wouldn't say that it's cool, but
but
you know, I'm not gonna knock anybody for liking wieners or not. I mean, who doesn't love a good hot dog?
So the thing is, every claim you go into has its own different message you can put up, and this territory I'm in is controlled by Trojan Company, so you can pretty much get where they were going with that, but. Yeah, we have a different message for ours.
Well,
and I can't do anything about those messages. I am so sorry for everybody out there who's watching this stream right now.
It is perfectly fine because everyone on the podcast won't know anything apart from me talking about wieners. But you know, that's still rather PC in comparison to what it could have been. I was just wondering why that happened and why that popped up on your screen so prominently.
See, our territory is heroes never die for a price.
Okay. That's a
little
bit
like
better.
Mercenaries, yes.
Just slightly better. I'll go ahead and be okay with that one. But so, you know, Dame and I are very familiar with thinking that a development studio has learned their lesson. Not to release terrible, buggy things. And no, it's true.
And 2019 still holds some hope.
Oh, absolutely
not a
does.
lot.
Yeah,
not a lot, but some.
It's been a big topic for us over the last few months in 2018.
Yeah, it really has.
You know, the major difference is Bethesda forgot to hide behind the early access title. Whereas, you know, Studio Wildcard, Instinct Games, they very much so would stay indefinitely in early access if they could.
They're like the Where's Waldo of hiding behind early access.
So really quick, if you guys see on screen right now, look at this chicken.
It's
level 245.
That's
it's gonna get chicken.
You. Yeah.
And I'm hardly doing any damage.
Kill you? I mean, we've learned from The Legend of Zelda not to mess with chickens, but
that's true.
Look at all the arrows that this thing is taking.
Wow.
This is level 245.
Yo, that chicken is where Chick-fil-A gets its nuggets. That's got to have some really good meat to it.
Level 200 chicken nuggets.
Yep. My bow broke, so now I got to repair that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I have enough to. Oh, I don't have enough to repair it.
That seems to be a common thread with you. You never go in prepared, Bowman. You always find out halfway through a battle that you don't have what you need to win.
Well, specifically with level 200 chickens.
Not to break like that. Oh, geez. I need to get my spears.
I mean, how much damage can a level 200 chicken really do to you?
I don't know.
It's going to mess him up, man.
I don't know.
It's going to mess him up.
I want to kill it because I'm like, wow, I might get a lot of experience for this as an alpha chicken.
You think so?
Alpha animals usually give you lots of experience.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But I mean, this is definitely not doing as much damage as...
I still don't understand the thinking behind having an elephant go down in like 6 shots, but a chicken could take all the shots from your bow and then several slices from a spear, and it still doesn't go down. I mean... I'm not one for realism, but if you're going to nix realism, then why do you have to worry about people eating their poop and stuff like that?
Look how much health my guy just lost, too, from that chicken.
Well, and that chicken regened a healthy amount of health as well.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we were talking about earlier.
That thing is going to mess you up, dude.
I need stone so I can repair my bow, and I have no stone. This is iodine.
So here's a question that I was kind of thinking about while we were talking about Atlas going early access and being in such a horrible state. And then, you know, we have games like Fallout 76 that launched in the state that's been in. You know, when do you guys recall, and maybe you guys don't know, but was there like a specific time or specific game where you just kind of realized that releases of games are just going to be incomplete and that's the way things are just going to be from now on? when did you guys just come to terms with the fact that games are going to launch incomplete?
Well, I don't know that I would necessarily say that I've come to terms with that as a reality, that is the rule across the board. I don't think it has to be, right. But I think that we by and large have accepted that is the reality, and that there is no other possibility. I mean, that's why people are still pre-ordering games. I mean, even after seeing fiascos like the launch of No Man's Sky,
right,
and even seeing the launch of Fallout 76 and other games within similar vein, that have launched in a similar way, we're still buying into the hype, buying into the early access, with the promises that, oh yeah, this thing is going to be the next killer app once it's complete.
Right.
My big sticking point, and I'll go back to this, is that, if you're going to release a game unfinished, just call it a beta. Call it what it is.
Right.
Don't, or even early access. I think that people buying into early access can help developers, but it can also really set a bad tone for the developers to not deliver.
Right.
Because with Ark, like I said, I was an early adopter for Ark, got kind of burned on that, and so I guess I just wish there was a little bit more transparency of, when you get into an early access game, it is not that you are getting into a game that is completely finished, or that there are even the promises that it's going to be finished. Give deadlines and call it a beta, call it a paid beta test.
Right.
That you are paying for access to test out their product, to break their product, so that they can work on fixing it and making it better.
I mean, we've seen so many times lately now that people aren't, or companies aren't afraid to say, hey, this is a paid alpha. But this issue that we've been having has been going on for a long time. The reason why I ask is, I think for me, I think I just really came to terms with the idea that things are just not going to be finished, probably around the time that DCUO launched. Yeah. And that was like a long time ago, and I wouldn't say that it's that long ago, but it came on the heels of a lot of bad launches. We saw the Matrix Online, which was horrid.
I forgot that was even a thing.
The launch was like abysmal for Vanguard. It eventually became an okay game, but by that time it's like too little too late. Champions Online was pretty much half of a game. I mean, do we even want to go into what happened to Tabula Rasa? I mean, as far as these MMOs go, which is what Atlas is essentially trying to be here, we've seen a lot of these terrible launches throughout the past couple decades. But I think it was at the point where I looked at DCUO, which had some of its own growing pains and issues on its way, thinking this is coming from, at the time, SOE, now Daybreak, but this is coming from a well-established company with a well-established IP. They've got a lot of money and backing behind this. Why does this have so many issues? Why are there so many problems? And then I just came to terms with, hey, this is game releases in, at that time it was like, what, 2008, 2010, 2012? I don't even remember. But yeah, I mean, that was a while ago. So,
and we don't have to talk too much about SOE, because SOE has messed up quite a few games. True. Namely, Star Wars Galaxies.
I was about to mention that, but I didn't want to break your heart, Bowman.
Oh, my heart's been broken for a long time because of that.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a big difference in that. While that game launched very buggy in a sense, their idea was always to change it and never to fix it. And right. I think people, I mean, they never really got over that, obviously. The NGE, I mean, we still get arguments on our forums at mmorpg.com talking about, oh, the NG was terrible. Oh, the combat update was terrible. And then you have the people who liked each version of it. Personally, I'm of the combat update line of I thought the combat update was okay, but I don't think the NG was okay.
Combat update was terrible.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I will tell you that the best part, or the best thing that I found for Star Wars Galaxies was after they shut the servers down, somebody has a server called Awakening, and they mixed pre-combat upgrade skills trees and stuff like that with NGE houses and other things that made the NGE good. So they kind of merged them together. Like you've got the ability, like the original game, where Jedi were there, but you had to do whatever you needed to unlock them.
Right.
In this version, you have to go to certain like stone markers across planets, and it basically whispers to you through the Force if you're attuned, or if you're on your way, or if you're not having any chance. And every new character you make has a different probability of being a Jedi or a Force-sensitive character. So, I mean, certain things that...
Behold, we have a guest with us today. We have our hardware editor who just popped on in. Hello, Mr. Hardware Editor. You're late to the party, but always welcome. Oh, but we can't hear you. Oh, no! While you get that set up, I'm going to go ahead and fix the visuals here. Try and get those working.
While you're doing that, I'm going to try and go fishing so you guys can see how fishing works with the spear.
Good luck.
I don't want to go after a turtle. There's a fish.
Shouldn't you be killing level 200 chickens? Isn't that
somebody killed that for me.
Did you get XP for it?
You get, in this game, you get XP for every hit you do. So, like right now, I'm attacking this manta ray. I'm getting experience points for doing this. There, see?
Interesting.
Now drag the body. Oh, I can't climb. I might drown here. Yeah, I'm going to drown here. I can't drop the bot. There we go. Release. I can't. I'm going to die because I'm stuck underwater. No, because I ran out of air. Oh, come on. Go. And then when you this is what happens when you don't have enough air, guys. Please tell me
you've seen many, many times at this point.
And I can't go up any faster because I'm out of stamina. I'm going to just make it to the surface and die. Watch it. I was just at the surface. Oh my goodness.
Gotta love that.
Thankfully, I spawn right here in our town.
So what are the major penalties for death in this game? Yeah, you just have to
lose everything.
It's like a corpse run, right? So
you
pretty
have to
similar
go
to Ark.
Corpse. Correct. You have to go get your corpse, but you have a 10-second cooldown. So if it or 10-minute cooldown. So if you don't get it within 10 minutes, no matter how many times you die, it's gone after that.
It's gone forever.
And I got too much stuff to lose it all. Look at, I was right here. Where's my body? Where's my body? Right there. I was just at the surface. Now if I can just get my body.
No telling whether or not that's gonna happen.
Can other players loot your corpse?
Not on a PvE server, I don't think. But this is gonna really drive me crazy because I can't get my body.
Well, we do hope that you're able to do that. We are actually kind of running out of time. We do still, I know our hardware editor is still going to be popping in here and there. I know he was having some technical difficulties, as a hardware editor often does. But, you know, I will say one thing that surprises me is that through everything that we've seen with Atlas, Bowman is still actively playing it. You know, I guess some people would say the same thing about me and you, Dame, whenever it comes to Fallout 76.
Yep.
But this is a little bit different because this game is dare I say, even less playable, or at this point than what Fallout 76 was.
Why is my forehead on the screen?
Deal with it. So while we get Chris back in here, let's move from Atlas to otherworldly news, because we definitely want to hit some of these news things that we didn't get to hit in the past couple weeks. So not too much has happened since our last show, actually, but the end of the year is pretty lucky because it's kind of slow at the end of the year. A lot of companies are off. Not a lot of stuff happens. And now next week we have CES, which,
All of the things.
Yeah, we're kind of in the twilight between the previous year and the big news of next week's reveal. So just to be clear, though, it's not the sparkly vampire kind of twilight. It's just the regular, normal, in the middle kind of twilight. I wasn't trying to get anyone's hopes up. I know how much Bowman likes Twilight. But, since we already brought it up once, let's bring it up again. Bethesda has released some teasers on what to expect in the next Fallout 76 update. These include player vendors, some kind of special PvP mode, opening up of some of the vaults, and a bunch of new content like they promised. What they didn't talk about, though, is stopping all of the crashes and weird problems that everyone experiences. They did say they were going to address issues we've all been talking about, but no specifics were given. So it's like saying, I hear you guys complaining you don't like mushrooms. I'm going to make you a pizza. And while you can infer that that pizza won't have mushrooms, Bethesda is notorious for giving us mushrooms. So what do you think, Dame? I mean, where do you stand on this?
I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for what to say. I mean, because at the end of the day, I want them to fix the game. I don't like crashing while playing. That part is frustrating. But I do think that from a time perspective from release, that it is about that time for some new content. However, I still maintain the same thing that I said about Atlas and Ark, that to fix the game, make it playable, or at least have it be in a better state than it is right now, so that more people can be able to access more of the content without experiencing the same levels of frustration that have been common across the board. If these issues were isolated issues,
right,
where like a handful of people were experiencing random crashes and stuff like that, I get that.
Right.
But I think that there needs to be a good plan forward and some good transparency about what that plan is moving forward, to see that the game is that it's fixed, it's playable in a sturdy, or not sturdy, but a reliable in a reliable
sturdy makes sense.
Yeah,
I get where you're going with that.
All right.
And I totally agree with it. Like you said, it's time for new content. We've been grinding that old nuclear blast zone grind for I don't know how long, and we've kind of reached the upper echelon of that, to where
killing Scorch Beast Queens
mean nothing to us.
And now the fact that they are still nuking the servers.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, there are some major issues that they still haven't addressed, and it's interesting that they would say, hey, we hear you guys, but what we're hearing, we're not going to tell you. That's kind of interesting from my perspective. Are we looking at a cow here, Bowman? You know what happens with cows. You don't want to mess with those. moving on to another interesting bit of news.
That's an elephant, actually.
Well, that's an elephant, but there was whatever.
Well,
so Nexon's founder, Zhang Kim, is planning to sell off his controlling interest in Nexon. They're the makers of Marvel Battle Lines, which is a game that we at the Hero Signal know quite well. I guess not here at the Hero Signal, but me at the
Hero Signal.
Me at the Hero Signal know quite well.
I've asked to come on, but they never invite me.
Oh, we'll get around to that. Once you level up to killing level 200 chickens, we'll talk about it, Bowman. You got to make your way. Be a hero, kill a chicken.
Here you go. Here's
we'll talk about it.
Here's a wild boar, in case people think we're boring.
So yeah, other games that Nexon's known for, Maple Story 2. They have a lot of games in their library, and it's kind of a big deal because Nexon is one of the largest and most profitable game companies in the world, and anyone with the cash to spend on it will immediately become one of the largest game companies in the world. So, but then again, anyone with $9 billion laying around could probably do that on their own if they wanted to. You'd imagine $9 billion. Dame, you've got like $9 billion in your seat cushions. How would you feel about buying Nexon?
Yes, sure, why not?
And because I got say that guy
later.
owns 98% of the stock. Like he's got 98% controlling factor of that company too.
He's
so
got
it's
the
like a
majority
complete
share.
sellout.
Yeah, it's definitely a majority share. I don't know if it's quite 90, but I wouldn't put it past him. I think it's just kind of an interesting situation. What worries me is a lot of times deals that go along with licensing, like the Marvel Battle Lines thing, licensing doesn't always transfer from company to company. Whatever takes it over, Disney may say, no likey, we don't like that company. They're a bunch of jerks and they smell funny and they're stupid and we don't like them. And they could cut ties, and then what are we at the Hero Signal going to do?
So speaking to that, not to go off on a tangent, but speaking that really quickly, so I am a big player of Star Wars Force Arena, which has been around for 2 years.
Right.
And we just got an update on the server within the last month that January 17th is the last day to install the game to your phone.
Really?
After March, it is gone. They're shutting the servers down and everything. And it's such a good game, but it's just that same old song and story.
That's a Nexon
song
title?
and dance that... No, not Nexon. I'm just saying because we were talking about Disney. So basically Disney and them, they're like, making cash grabs and...
Well, people were kind of thinking that that's kind of what happened with the whole gazillion thing, as they were thinking, hey, we decided we didn't like the company because the CEO was doing something bad on the side. We don't want to be associated with it. Bada bing, bada boom. So you never know. Nexon has a lot of, they have a lot of games. They have a Disney license. We know that Disney's been very tight-fisted with their IPs. So, we may have to say goodbye to Marvel Battle Lines, which is something that I personally wouldn't like. But you never know what's going to happen in this crazy industry. So that's a big thing of news for me. Do you guys have any ideas on who you might want to see purchase Nexon?
Somebody who's not going to screw around.
I'm not
basically nobody.
I mean, I guess
let's take out a bank loan, guys.
I guess it would be interesting to see, especially with an IP like Maple Story, to see somebody like either NCSoft or Square Enix absorb that IP. I know Square has done some things within the mobile arena,
right?
But
Xeus is pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder if a company like that, since again looking at licensing and stuff, Square has done stuff with the Marvel license, is doing things with the Marvel license, and so
we believe.
So, yeah, so we believe, and
so say we all.
And so I wonder if that wouldn't be a good fit for them, just because of there would be less hassle, or there'd be less worrying about whether or not those IPs would transfer over.
Well, there's always the other option of someone buying it to liquidate the IPs.
Right, that's true.
And that might be one of the best choices if if a company wants to maybe just take a few of them and then sell off the rest. You never know. I mean,
that happened last year, didn't it? I seem to remember somebody doing that last year too. I can't remember.
I wouldn't doubt it. But while we're on the topic of big news and selling out or what have you, and so on and so forth, this one's interesting. Now, I have no dog in the fight, cow in the barn, whatever you want to call it.
Chicken against the bowman.
Yep, chicken against the bowman on this one. But
this is going to be a recurring thing. There's going to be memes about this.
Dude,
tomorrow.
You couldn't kill a chicken? Come on.
My bow broke.
Like you're out here killing elephants, you can't kill a chicken or a cow.
So me and one of the people in my crew here were talking earlier, and basically they just updated the bows. So basically, every time you shoot an arrow, you lose 1 durability, and these bows have.
Just carry more bows. You're a bow.
40 durability. Yeah, I should make a couple more bows. But because you shoot 1 arrow and then 40 arrows later your bow breaks, and that chicken took like 30 shots from me, so my bow was already damaged.
Yeah.
But there will be a meme tomorrow.
You gotta come prepared.
Oh,
you know.
Bowman doesn't kill chickens the right way.
So at Activision Blizzard, the CFO, Spencer Newman, was either he was fired or he just left, and he took a position at Netflix.
Is all of that confirmed? Because the
report I saw was that the guy was fired, but he was appealing it, and that he could come back potentially, or just go to Netflix.
Okay.
And there was another CFO that went from because there was 2.
So we had Activision. So Activision CFO and then Blizzard CFO. All the CFOs are all CF going somewhere else.
They're CF gone.
Now, I know that you're looking this up, Dame, because you're questioning the validity of this, and I hope that you do, because what I'm doing, what I'm basing this off of, is what we reported on earlier this week. If there have been updates to it, I do not know. Now, from what I do understand, and maybe you guys can clarify if you know better than I do, I have heard that they don't know whether he was fired or whether he personally wanted to go. But it sounds like after what Bowman was saying, it looks like he was let go. But the CFO of Blizzard apparently went to Square, and that one was not a firing. I believe she just left. Is that
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was actually a that was, I think it was earlier than Spencer Newman.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
And when we're saying Square, we mean the mobile payment company, not Square Enix.
Yeah. That's exactly
device.
what I was going to say. So, I'm not a Blizzard guy. I'm not an Activision guy. I don't even really go to Dairy Queen that much to get Blizzards. So really, like, Dame, this is your thing. Like,
it is.
How does this make you feel?
There has been a lot of shakedown at Blizzard, and especially within the last 2 years. And I am very curious to see where it's going. Blizzard has been around in some capacity or another for several years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've been around for, what is it, 25 or more years?
Yeah,
as a company,
right.
and so to be around that long in this industry without a lot of turnover in your main leadership positions is kind of a rarity. Now I know that Blizzard has had, expansion and bringing in new blood since the original team, but when you have some of the original crew like Mike Morhaime and Chris Metzen that have been pillars within that company that have gone, it really makes me wonder what the future holds for them.
Right.
If there's more going on than just simply, hey, we just want to spend more time with family, or their health needs or whatever. Is there something that's changing within the ecosystem of the company that is making it less desirable to be a part of? Or that the vision of the company has changed so much that the old guard has decided, hey, this isn't the company that we set out to start, or that we set out to run anymore.
Right.
So I'm concerned. I'm very, very concerned because I love Blizzard IP, and I've always appreciated over the years seeing how they've grown and expanded the stories that they have to tell. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not a fan, but I'm not going to sit here and tell people that, hey, Blizzard hasn't, they are one of the few companies that's created the paradigm shift of what MMOs are today. And, that, say what you will about them, whether you're pro or con Blizzard, they've made waves. And, I can't really say anything, about that, because what they do well. But to see what's kind of going on internally, it makes me feel like we've seen this before, and we've seen this before at a much faster rate in a company called BioWare. And that's really what kind of worries me, is we saw a lot of the head honchos, jump ship as EA started taking more control over. And now we kind of see them kind of pushing more towards Anthem being their big thing and what they want to kind of progress towards. And I kind of wonder, if not to mince words, if the magic's gone, have they lost, their ability to bring back those feelings that we had of the old original, Blizzard or BioWare games that made us love what they were from the beginning?
Yeah, that's a good question. Something that will be worth looking at. There's a comment on Twitch about WoW going free to play. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening anytime soon, as long as there are people who are willing to subscribe to it. I'm not sure what the subscription numbers are right now, but it's been one of those things that I've wished that it would be, just from the standpoint of it would give more accessibility to the game to more people, which could create some better sense of community within the game.
Right.
But at the same point in time, if it's making money, there's no way that somebody's going to take that amount of cash flow and just be like, yeah, you know what, we're going to turn that off right now. We really have made them enough money with this thing.
Well, it's kind of a gamble at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, time and again, we've always seen that free-to-play games generally outperform games that have a subscription model. But then again, you're not talking about games like World of Warcraft that have time and again kind of thrown it in the face of every other MMO out there that our subscription model is still viable. It's still a viable monthly moneymaker, which to me it's astounding, because I never really got into World of Warcraft in the first place. It never really caught me. I was more along the lines of maybe more on the end of Bowman's crazy spectrum with Star Wars Galaxies.
I've played World of Warcraft for a grand total like an hour or two, and that's mostly just to benchmark stuff.
Yeah. So
yeah, I've played on and off for several years.
Yeah,
So.
and I have a buddy who's the same way. I remember whenever it first came out, like we couldn't pull him off the computer. It was it was awful, and that was so long ago, so very long ago. But that being said, I don't know where Blizzard's going. I don't know if this actually means anything. It might not mean that much in terms of the way the outlook of the day-to-day processes of what's going on. They could bring in someone else and business as usual. So the only way we're really going to know, the thing that gets me is that the turnover is so close to one another that it makes you think something else is going on within the company. But
yeah, I would agree. I think that there's something that's going down. I just hope that whatever turns out at the end of it all is for the benefit of the fan base and the company itself, and I don't mean just like the overarching company of Activision, but I mean Blizzard Entertainment and Blizzard Entertainment's IP.
Right. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the news. And I know there's some other stuff that did go on. Did you ever find out whether or not before we kind of move away from this onto plugs? Did you ever find out what exactly happened? Is he gone to Netflix, or is that confirmed now?
It's not 100% confirmed from the very quick cursory look that I did.
Okay.
But I know that there was an offer on the table from Netflix.
Interesting. Well, one way or another, we're probably going to circle back around just to let everybody know what happened. Not that it's all that interesting to everybody, especially me, because I don't care. But it is interesting from a company-wide perspective on what's going on.
I did just see an IGN headline that said, and this is kind of a cross confirmation between Variety and IGN, that Spencer Newman has been appointed as CFO at Netflix.
Ooh, there we go. So
and where did the other guy go? He went to another gaming company, didn't he?
A girl, and she went to Square.
Or a girl?
Yeah. She went to Square, the
Square.
payment card company. But that again, that one was kind of planned ahead of time, but for the reasons we're not sure that we know. So let's get into our plugs. Bowman, what do you got that you want to plug this week?
Not my hair.
Oh, not yet. Anyway, still got time.
Right now I'm not really doing too much.
Nothing. Well,
got
maybe,
a couple reviews that are. I'm doing a review for last year, The Nightmare, that I should have had done a couple days ago, that I'll probably get done tomorrow. And that's been available through Discord, since Discord is doing their own store now.
Right.
It's like Dead by Daylight. It's actually pretty fun. So that review will be coming out soon. Got a keyboard that's not due till February. I can't talk about. Yeah, so I'm pretty much doing nothing.
This time, since this isn't a normal thing that we do, but we're also going out on Bowman's Twitch stream, so everybody who's been watching on his stream as well, thank you for tuning in to the GameSpace Game Show, which I don't know if we're always going to be going out, but you might want to plug that stream.
Yep, so anybody who watches and likes to see what I'm doing, I play PUBG, I play Atlas, I play a whole bunch of other stuff. Star Trek Online I'm doing stuff for with Perfect World, which is actually a pretty cool story. They're working with me to do my monthly article, which I now call Bowman's Star Trek Online Corner. Trying to get it on the same day every month, but second article didn't make it out till January when it's supposed to be December. So we're going to have another one before the end of the month here, and then we're going to go from there. But anybody who wants to watch me in the future, twitch.tv/thawolf1, THAWOLF 1, and just go ahead and throw me a follow on there, and we'll see it when I'm streaming normally.
Because this isn't normal. And excellent.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But, I've been streaming a lot more to all the MMO platforms just so I get
I'd say
more
your lack
exposure.
of chicken kills is probably more normal, but...
Okay, so because this is a great transition to PUBG, it shows you how many chicken dinners I've actually had lately.
Oh!
Well, see it to believe it. Everyone out there who's going to follow Bowman and check out his chicken dinners, make sure you update us in chat next time so we can lay off giving him the business. Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got going on this week?
Sure. I have a bunch of hardware stuff that I have been working on over the Christmas season. I have a pair of microphones that I'll be releasing a review for here pretty soon. I'm actually using one of them here. They are both from Sterling Audio. They're some pretty nice microphones if you are looking to get into any type of content creation, voiceover work, podcasting, Twitch streaming, stuff like that. Some good tools. This particular one is kind of a little bit of a mid-range. It's the ST155, so it's a little bit more of a mid-range mic. Is a really great stepping point if you already have something that's kind of an entry-level XLR. But I will be reviewing that along with the SP150 SMK, and those reviews will actually be released together in one kind of overarching review that will have some audio comparisons and stuff like that. Sweet. So I've got that going on, which I've just got a couple of things that I'm going to shore up with that before that goes live. And some headphones that I'm going to be working on here in the next coming days. And
I think I may have fixed it.
Well, the show's almost over.
and suddenly, our hardware editor.
We start talking about microphones, and we get our hardware editor. It's like,
what's
speak
that?
Hardware, and he shall come.
I heard a bell. And I am here.
You probably heard it nice and clear with Dame's microphones. He was just going over the microphones that he's been working on, and we are just running over the last bit of plugs here.
Yep. So just one final plug here. We're getting ready to launch our 6th season of Roll the Level. It's a running podcast about life, God, and video games in no particular order. Great conversations that myself, as well as another MMORPG and GameSpace writer, Matt Keith, have with our friend Sarah Cook. And we're going to be recording this Thursday our very first episode for the new season. So you can follow us online at Roll the Level, all one word, or you can follow me at Pastor Dame, and we'll talk with you there.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Hardware Editor, you've come just in time for plugs. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to plug for this week?
I don't feel that's right. I'm here for 3 seconds. Come read my stuff. Yeah, I don't have time to talk. But you know what I'm going to plug? I'm going to plug the god awfulness that is Skype to me over this last month. It's terrible. I'm happy to talk with you guys.
We're glad you're here too, Chris.
I don't know. We did a best of. I'll plug that. We did our awards for the year. So if you want to see the best hardware 2018, it's up on the site right now. I do have some cool stuff that's coming in the future. So you know what I'll plug is starting on the 14th, I'm going to be freelancing for IGN, which is kind of a cool thing. And you can't really see it. Maybe you can. It's like this bluish box behind me. Can you guys see that blackish blue? That's the Acer 4K 144 hertz screen. So that's kind of exciting. I'll be checking that out.
Very exciting.
Yeah, but I'll be sharing that and plugging again. Hopefully, after actually joining you for a show. So that's something. Love you guys.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Been a while, my friend. Been a while.
And it just figures that as you got on, my entire network crashed. So I think we lost the stream and everything.
Well, you can't really tell anyway.
I actually do have one cool thing. Look at this. Look at this keyboard. It's really blown out with this terrible chroma camera thingy I got going on. It's the Input Club Kira. This was my keyboard of the year. And it's beautiful, and it's very RGB, so it's right up my alley. Go buy it. Everybody, buy it. It's awesome.
How much is it? Give us a price point at least. Come on.
This one, you can get it for $179, I think, if it's plastic case. It's like $239 if you get the metal top to it.
Yikes.
For that price, it better play games by itself.
It may.
Just win all the time.
You know what? It'll light up your life.
Hashtag winning with keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to top my throne.
Well, lastly, I'd like to say check out our podcast. We haven't promoted it at the end of the year, and the citizens of Podcast Land have called, and they said that they're not happy, and they want us to make you visit them. So everyone out there who's maybe missed some of the episodes, you don't have to listen to all of them, but the year-end recaps are actually quite good, exceptional even. And apart from that, check out my Guild Wars 2 article this week. It's talking about whether or not Guild Wars 2 should be scrapped in favor of Guild Wars 3. And then, definitely check out the Hero Signal, which is our channel that's run by me, along with Scott and Ralph, two other of our GS2 crew. We've got a video releasing on Sunday, so make sure you check it out if you're interested. It's a new video talking about some build ideas, trying to get players who are playing Marvel Battle Lines to get all 3 stars on every event in the Special Ops, starting from levels 1 through 3. So we've got a lot of content coming out for that this year. Definitely check it out. With our new schedule, we are actually going to be back in 2 weeks. We're going to be doing bi-weekly episodes for the beginning of this year. So gamer friends, look out for our next episode of GS2 on the 18th of this month. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Chris, for joining us at the end here.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
And we'll see
Small
you guys.
doses.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.